I just got back 2 comics from CGC that were signed by Jim Steranko at the 2023 HeroesCon. Stay tuned for the reveal. Welcome back, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today we have got another CGC unboxing. In this case, we have 2 comics back from CGC that were signed by Jim Steranko at the 2023 HeroesCon, and I'm pretty excited about this. These were 2 of the biggest books that I've gotten signed at that show, but they had to go into a separate order when I had them witnessed and submitted to CGC on site because they were, of course, Silver Age books. The other ones were all modern, so they had to go into 2 separate orders. This order took just a little bit longer than the other order. It was about a week, maybe a week and a half longer, maybe a couple weeks. And I don't know what the grades are. We will open this up. We will find out. But before we do that, definitely hit that like button, slap the subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That way you will not miss out on any of these great shows that I put out every Monday and Friday at 10 a.m. All right, enough of the rambling. Let's get into the box. All right, guys, let's get into this box. Let's open her up. I've got the knife right here. It's a small box. As I said, there's only 2 books. And this almost completes all the books I got signed at CGC that are back in my hand. The only ones that are still out are 2 books that were signed by Roy Thomas that I then at the show had them go ahead and submit to the Arthur Adams signing that they were doing at CGC. So those will be back at some point. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know when the Art Adams signing is going to be, but we'll wait on that. It's the same book. I got 2 of them signed, and I think you guys will love that book. I've shown it off on the channel, so if you're paying real close attention, you'll know. You'll go back on to one of the episodes where I covered HeroesCon this year, and you will find out which books I submitted. But if you haven't, you'll have to stay tuned for that episode at some future date. But let's go ahead and get into this box. And again, whether you believe it or not, I don't go in and look at the grades ahead of time. That spoils the surprise because I like to be able to capture that moment on film so you guys can see it, and then I can go back and look at it too. It's kind of recording history, or at least history of myself, and I kind of enjoy that. But we've got the bubble wrapped. It's got 2 cardboard layers right there, and we've got the protective rubber band. And let's just do a quick position so I don't see the grade ahead of time. You guys actually see the grade before I do on these videos because when I put it up here and I cover up the grade, the monitor I'm watching is always about a split second slower. So if it looks to me like I react really slow when I do that grade reveal, it's because I'm either looking at the camera or I'm looking at the back of the CGC case where I can see the grade there. But it takes me a moment to find that. So it does look like I pause for a moment. That's why I say you guys actually see it before I actually react to it. So I've got the books backwards. Let's just start with the first one here. And what I'm going to do today is, because this is all I'm going to do in the video today is do this right here. We're going to do the 2 books. That's going to be it. What I'm going to do is I've got my tablet set up right here, and what we'll do is we'll do some live value assessment. What's a fair market value? What grades? What prices am I finding for that grade? We'll pull up Go Collect as our source for today, but I'll pull that up and we'll give you some live information right on the spot, really. So let's start with this one. It is Captain America 111. And to be honest with you, I was not expecting a super high grade on this. In fact, I was expecting more of a mid-range. I had hoped at least an 8.5, but I knew that the spine was pretty rough. And quite honestly, I have a much better copy of this already graded. I have a 9.4 version of this book. It's beautiful. But I didn't feel like taking the chance when I went to the show to get it broken out. In fact, what I will do is, and I pushed CGC, some of their reps on this, is we've got all these artists. We're doing all these signings at CGC. Why do we not have Jim Steranko do a private signing at CGC at this point? This seems like it would be a no-brainer. I don't know why it's not gotten done. I know that my rep kind of, I don't want to say rolled his eyes, but it was sort of a kind of a, they're working on it type of thing. So I hold out hope that we will get that eventually. But this was it was a decent copy. It wasn't like I said, my best copy. But I wanted to get this book signed. I have Jim Steranko on a Captain America 113, the last of his 3 issues that he did on Captain America. And I've got a beautiful 9.4 on that one. But this one I know wasn't going to reach that level. And again, I was afraid to break out the other one at the con. But let's see what we did on this. And it's strictly a PC book at this point, but I will give you the values on it after we do this grade reveal. All right, let's see what we've got. Okay, we got a 7.0, a little lower than I expected. Yeah, I would definitely have liked to have seen an 8.0, even an 8.5, but this was a little bit rougher of a copy. But it is super clean. But you can definitely tell, if you had this in person, where the art stops. There's the black line, the holding line, that's on the spine, and quite honestly, it is very rough. It's not like it has spine ticks, but it has wear up and down where that black line is on the cover right there. But fairly sharp corners, no creases. And in fact, what I think I'll do is let's do the price analysis real quick here. We'll just do it on the spot. I've got these pulled up. Captain America 111. What I'm finding on as a 7.0, signed 7.0. So let's click on there. That you've got Universal Blue Label, you have signed, you have restored grades, qualified grades. 7.0. Oh wow. Okay. Honestly, I'm a little surprised. I thought it's a little higher than I expected, quite honestly. The last sale of this book as a 7.0 was back in November of 2022. It was a straight buy it now, buy it on the spot, fixed price, $530 on this. This was the last sale on this, and that's actually a lot higher than I expected, because that's a lot of value having that beautiful Steranko signature over here. And a Universal Blue Label, if it was unsigned 7.0, and this is why I was surprised it's actually as much as high as it was, is only, let me pull up the 7.0 Universal. The last sale of this was $79. There was a $202 best offer accepted, so who knows if on another sale, who knows what the price really was, but I'm seeing $97, $116, $140 over this last year. So basically from $90 to $140 over this last half a year for an unsigned Blue Label. But signed right now, this has a going value of, according to the last sale, hang on, let me pull it back up again, $530. So that's a pretty decent investment right there. If CGC does eventually do a signing with Jim Steranko, I will send this book in. This book, but I will send my graded 9.4 in. I've had very much success being able to send in several books that have been graded and gotten them signed by an additional artist, or just breaking open a 9.8 candidate that I've sent in to get signed and regraded and re-encapsulated as 9.8s. The grades have stayed the same. You can see over my head right here, you can see if you pay real close attention, you can see that Iron Man 128 with that Bob Layton cover. I had gotten John Romita. I don't know why I was calling him Jim. John Romita Jr. to sign last year at Heroes Con, and then I ended up sending it into this year. I sent it into CGC for the Bob Layton signing, and it definitely retained a grade. I was very happy with that. And the books, there were a couple books I did break out at HeroesCon, but I didn't want to chance that Silver Age book. So we'll send in the graded version, the 9.4, at some point to get it signed, hopefully. But in the meantime, this is a very nice collectible, and I think I added a lot of value to my collection. This, when I gave him the book, I'm seeing a lot of artists do this. They are not digging from us, especially if we make a custom window for them to sign in. We want to keep these books protected. You know, when we submit to CGC, we need to submit them into a bag and board that has a window cut out for the signature. And that's to protect the book. And I do the same thing at shows. And I learned from my experience last year when I do these things that not to make the space so small. You see his signature right here, but you don't want to make a box that just covers that small area. You want to give him a lot of room to be able to work with. And the two gentlemen in front of me in line, everybody had their books bagged and boarded and everything. And what I noticed was that they had their spaces, their windows for signing very small. And Jim Steranko, and I've seen other artists at the HeroesCon this year do the same thing. They make you take them out of the bag and board. Take them out. And we're all cringing because we know most of us are getting these graded, and we're paying extra to the artist even to get these books graded. We pay a premium if we're getting them graded to the artist. If it's just, that's because it's being witnessed and somebody else is making money off of his name, so he gets more money. Anyway, I had learned from last year not to cramp the artist in their signing window, so I didn't have to take my books out, and I had a pleasant time talking with Jim Steranko, and I don't remember what the story was this year. Last year, I got to hear the story of how he drew the Incredible Hulk annual #1, the cover to that. This year, I don't remember. We didn't exactly talk about comics, and it just doesn't ring a bell what we talked about. But what I know was I gave him a wide berth to do that signature. And one of the things that did laugh is I draw arrows to the area where I want him to sign. And last year he busted on me for putting too many arrows. It's like, are you sure you got enough arrows? And this year we talked. I kind of laughed about it. Like I said, I learned from my lesson from last year, and I gave you a really big window and only a few arrows. And he kind of chuckled at that. And he's always very charming to everybody that he talks to. And so I didn't have to take my books out of the bags, but the guys in front of me, they were all getting them witnessed for CGC as well. They had to take every one of those books out. And of course, you've got Jim Steranko doing a lot of Silver Age work in their old books, so you've got to be careful. And anyway, I didn't have to do that. Got a 7.0 in that. A little disappointed, but with the value in that, I'm actually pretty impressed with that. So yeah, I think I'll hold on to this for a little while, and if I can get that other one graded, I will send it in. All right, let's move over to the second book. And the second book is another classic. I had never owned this book, but I picked it up off of Whatnot, and I don't remember what I paid for it. But I thought it was in really decent shape. Here it is. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #1. And I'd never had this before. I've read it, of course, in trade paperbacks and reprints and things like that. But I ended up picking this up at a Whatnot sale last year, and I thought it had a pretty decent chance to kind of get into that upper mid-range. I think it was definitely above a fine, or I thought it was better than a fine, or better than a 6.0. I thought it could get into that 7.5 to 8.0 range. I wasn't sure. There's some age on the book, and I have not got into anything dealing with ultraviolet lights and to lighten these. That Captain America is a prime candidate to do that treatment on because of that white cover and trying to get some of that white richness out of the cover, or back into the cover, I should say, because it does tan pretty good. And I know my 9.4 that I had was slightly tan, and maybe could have stood a little bit of improvement. But regardless, I'm going on about that. But this was a really sharp copy. I thought that overall, it was just a really nice. Corners are sharp, not a lot of spine damage, but again, just a general wear that wasn't going to get it up into those 9s. Maybe an outside shot an 8 or an 8.5, depending. I haven't graded a lot of Silver Age books, so I think I do a decent job with it, but there's only so much you can do if the book is the way it is. So anyway, let's do the grade reveal on here. Yeah, got a 7.5. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not, I guess I'm not blown away. It's more about what I expected. So 7.5, let's take a quick look at this. And, oh yeah, I remember this now. It pressed out really nice. There is a crease right here in the blue, right beside Val. And it does break color slightly. And I remember pressing this out and at least flattening it, making it look more presentable. You can see the crease now, but there's no crease now. I cleaned and pressed it, and it should be fairly flat. I'll tell you what I might do here is, at the end of this, after I give you values and everything, maybe I'll pull up the phone and we'll scan them in and we'll read the grader's notes right here on the air. Why not? This is the only 2 books I've got. But 7.5 off-white to white pages. Jim Steranko, and he's signed right up here. And yeah, this is a really nice copy. There's a little bit of wear back here on the staples. It looks like a little bit of rust on those staples as well. But 7.5, that presents beautifully. I mean, the cover, the back here is flat. There's a little bit of staining down there. I don't know if that's foxing or not. Yeah, a little bit. There's definitely dirt that I couldn't take out. And I just did not get into using peroxide to lighten this or ultraviolet light to lighten it. But 7.5 on a Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #1. Let's pull that up. And again, here, I'm going to start with if this was a blue label, 7.5, what would we be talking about? And then I'll give you what a signature on here as a 7.5 is. The last sale of a issue #1, 7.5 blue label, was $134 from Heritage Auctions. This was literally this last week here in July. $140 the week earlier. That was on eBay, fixed price, $148. $180 back in May. So I'm seeing a range from about $134 to $180 over the last few months on this as a blue label. But let's see what we've got as a signature on here. Let's see if we get the same kind of bump that we got on the Captain America 111 right there. All right, so what we got? We got 7.5. Okay, what I'm finding is that we don't have a sale on this signed version since 2020 off of eBay, and that went in, let's see, and that only went for $228. 2019, there was a sale of a 7.5, and it went for $359. So there's no recent data on this, at least from Go Collect, that I can give you guys. I suspect that those prices are a little old. I mean, well, they are obviously a little old. But what does that mean? Since 2020, we went through the bubble and things have come back down. My guess right now, if this was 2020 was a $228, I would imagine that this right now is probably worth at least, I'd say, $270, conservatively $250, but I would put it at, if I was thinking about selling this, I would probably try to start it, well, without doing more research and seeing what, say, an 8.0, 8.5, any of those things are, and see what their lows are, actually. I would say this is probably a $275 to $300 comic book. That's not as impressive as that Captain America, but nonetheless, it is a beautiful Jim Steranko iconic cover, and happy to have it in a collection. So, let's pull up, actually, let's see what we can do. Let's pull up the camera, if I can find it on here. And what we'll do is we'll scan in the QR code on both of these. I'm sure I've got a camera on here. camera. So, I'm going to scan in the QR code that's on the back. So if you see what I'm doing is I'm trying to zoom in on that. And it's not scanning in. So tell you what, let's just pull it up off of CGC. I'll log into my account. I mean, that probably would have been the smarter thing to do. And just click on it. I mean, I don't know. I was trying to be smart, but I think it's kind of cool to be able to scan in the QR code and get your information. And it's not it. Okay, here we go. Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. #1 this was from June of 1968, by the way. Greater notes for this. Okay, light foxing to cover. Small crease left center on front cover. That's the one I just talked about. Very light staple tears. We talked about that. And very small tear with crease top of front cover. All right, let's take a look at that. That's the only one that I... Oh, yeah. I remember this now. Up here at the top... Nah, forget it. You never see it. I'll never get it to focus on that. There is a kind of a finger crease right up here. And I remember this. I remember this driving me nuts. It's right there above the F and the U and Fury. And it was definitely a finger crease. And this paper is very brittle. Well, more brittle than new comics, obviously. And it broke the color. It wasn't just a crease that came across, but it kind of broke the color. And I remember pressing this, pulling it out, and being very careful of that right there. And as I'm trying to get it back in the bag and board, and I'm not putting even the slightest bit of pressure pushing it in, just very, very minor. And my finger just touches the top of that edge, and all of a sudden that little finger bend there pops right back up. And I'm going, okay, I can't get rid of it, but I can flatten it, right? I can flatten it. That's what I did. And I put it back in there for a quick press. Didn't give it another moisture bath or anything, but I put it back in there for another quick press to get it flattened back out. I don't need this thing going to CGC with that thing just flapping, like that. And I got it out. I did it a second time, and I'm like, if I keep doing this, I'm really going to end up tearing this off, and I've got to be better than that. And so I did it a third time and got it flat, and I got it in the bag and board, and hopefully it was okay from that point on. It looks pretty good. It's up there, but it is there. Every one of these defects I did see. This is actually a pretty good learning experience to know what the totalitarian, is that even a word? The sum of all of these defects, what they added up to. And in this case, they added up to a 7.5. The book still presents really beautiful. And as again, I said, it's a beautiful book to have in your collection. Let's go back. I'll just put the Captain America back up there. Let's pull up the notes on it. And light staining to cover. Light tears to cover. Small crease, right center of front cover. Very light cover tanning. Okay, all of this is pretty much on par. Let's take a look. Small crease, right center of front cover. So let's see where if we can find that there. I'm trying to catch the light. Yeah, I definitely don't see that, but the light tears to cover. It has to be definitely around the spine right there, with all the wear on over there on that edge. I don't see any, little tears coming in or anything. Really, it's a really nice and clean copy. Maybe this one added up a little worse. Maybe the foxing or the tanning hurt it more to get that 7.0, but still, it presents beautifully, and I'm, again, very happy with this, just not ecstatic with it. But it really will go good with the 113 that I've signed, and at some point, I need to get another copy of issue 110 and get that in to be able to take that to another signing. In fact, come to think of it, I actually do have that because I bought it at Heroes Con. That was one of the books, one of the 6 books that I ended up buying at Heroes Con this year was an issue 110 that was really nice. So I just didn't think about it because obviously I didn't get it signed there. It was at the very end on Sunday. It was too late to get Jim Steranko and Witness and anything like that because I need to clean and press it myself. I want to make sure it's okay and immaculate and in the bag and the board the way I want it to. I want to dictate where the signature is, things like that. So I didn't do it. That's why I wasn't thinking of it, that I needed to get it back into PC. Well, I do. It's just I need to work on it and have it ready for another appearance by Jim Steranko. Hopefully we'll get that done at some point. I mean, he's not a young person anymore, so God willing, we'll get that in at some point. But that's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, these notes are kind of exactly what I expect on this book. You can see the wear down the spine. It is what it is, but I'm happy with it as it is at this moment. All right, everybody, that's it for today. We have 2 comics that we unboxed. I'm pretty happy with it, but I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. Leave me a comment in the comment section. Write in, let me know what you think of these books and if you would be happy with these grades. Because I'm okay with these grades, but I would definitely want to find better copies the next time. And maybe I just overestimated these when I was doing my own evaluation after cleaning and pressing them. But still pretty solid, and both of them have pretty solid value. But definitely leave me a comment in the comment section below if you get a chance. And if you're ever interested in any of these books that I present on the channel, definitely reach out to me at collectorauctions@yahoo.com or DM me on my Instagram account, or just check out my eBay store or my Shortbox page. I put plenty of these up for sale. A lot of slabs, a lot of comics I keep for myself, but I sell a lot too to try to help pay for the hobby a little bit. So either way, this book's going to stay in here. That Nick Fury, definitely, I think I'm going to end up putting that up for sale. I mean, I think you could tell that this is the book I really, really wanted for the PC, where the other one was, if it was a better grade, I might really want to hold on to it. But as it is, I wouldn't mind parting with it. So guys, just reach out to me and let me know what you think. And that's it for today. I'm out of here. You guys have a great day. I will see you for the next show. And remember, guys, every comic has a story.